Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Thursday, the 27th of April, the penultimate Keeneland racing card of the spring meet. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. Take a look at the allowance feature on Thursday, plus the late pick 4, and that allowance feature is in the 8th race, and they'll go a mile and an eighth on the turf course. A couple of twin mile and an eighth races, 6 and 8, so they'll both be in the pick 4. Who did you land on in the 8th?
Well, when we talk about a pick 4, I certainly don't have a single here. I narrowed it down to 5 horses. My top pick is Nessie, the 5 horse for Ian Wilkes and B.J. Hernandez. Nessie's had a couple of good races at Gulfstream, and as been so many times in the podcast we've had this meet, the Gulfstream horses tend to keep their form up here. They like the cooler weather, although it's going to be warm this week. A couple of 86, 87 buyers, very consistent, and I think Nessie probably has as good a shot as any. However, Muderson, the 1 horse for Kieran McLaughlin, who is 6 for 12 at the meet, had that 4-win day early in the meet. Very consistent as well, coming out of Gulfstream with a dirt warm-up for this race. Southern Wild for Rusty Arnold, who has kept his string alive. He's got 2 wins for the meet, so he's won I don't know how many consecutive meets. Producer, the 8 for Valdivia and Vashenko, and this horse, he puts Valdivia on this horse instead of his normal rider, and the horse almost won an optional claimer at Fairgrounds last day on the dirt, and it's been good on the turf, so I think Producer's got a shot in here. And the 11, Brucarita for Michael Matz and Velasquez. You got to put Johnny V in there, and the horse won an allowance starter last time out at Gulfstream. So I like the Gulfstream form, and here I'm going to use 5 in the pick 4, but Nessie is my top pick for Ian Wilkes.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Gulfstream, and I'm using all 4 of those Gulfstream horses, 3, 5, 1, 11, and also Mucho Macho bets I'm going to throw in as well. My win pick was Southern Wild. The main reason I think probably is Castellano taking the ride on this one. He has been so good at the meet, especially on the turf. So I've got Southern Wild. And then I like a couple of races last fall that he shows on his form I think would be very tough here. And I think he's probably sitting on a good one. So Southern Wild's the win pick. But if you were just playing this race, I think you could box those 4 Gulfstream horses, 3, 5, 1, and 11, and that'd be a $24 ticket for $2. And I think have a real good chance of cashing the exacta. 6th race is where we will start the late pick 4, and the turf race there, I'm focusing on the Gulfstream shippers again. I took Kieran's horse, Muhauer, the 3. McLaughlin's 22%, second off this kind of layoff. So thinking this horse is primed for a good run. After him, there are a lot of different ways you could go. I've got, I think, 5 horses listed here that I liked as far as the ones that I would consider playing with Muhauer in the race. The 5, Sight, the 8, Honoree, the 9, Beale Street Dancer, the 1, Galileo Spear. I think for Atfield, he's been cold at the meet, but Castellano rides, so that's an interesting combo. And the 7, 65. Those were the others I liked in there, but I actually singled Muhauer in here to make the ticket affordable. 7th race, I took Rhythm Park, the 6. Favorite Coach, the 4, with a start over the track, I think could improve. And the 7, Manhattan Mischief. Took all 5 of those ones I mentioned, the 4 Gulfstream shippers and Mucho Macho bets. And in the 9th, I like Luther D, but I'm also using Wissam and Kitten for Granny. Wissam and 100 Across and Kitten for Granny. So I'm using 4 horses in there, that's right. So 1 by 3 by 5 by 4 is my pick 4 ticket. 3, 8, 9, and 2 in the last leg. How about you?
It's fairly similar. In the 6th race, I like Kieran's horse, Muhauer, but I like Manitoulin a little better for Giroux and James Toner. I really like that race from Aqueduct. I think it sets him up well for this one. Giroux has had not a very good meet. He's only 5 for 62, and I keep saying he's due, and I think he's going to have a breakout day one of these days. And this horse, if it runs back to the Saratoga form, has better buyers than anything else in here. So Manitoulin is my pick here, but I would go deep here with your horse, Muhauer. I would use the 6 horse, Humor, for Chris Hartman. He hadn't run very well on the dirt the last 2, and you might get a better price because if you look at those 2 buyer figures, he's not very good on the dirt, but take his turf form. He had an 83 buyer with a maiden special weight win in November at Churchill. So I'm going to use Humor as a price in here. 65, Brad Cox. Always throw Brad in there. And then I'm going to use Galileo Spear, the first time North America. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I almost singled Manhattan Mischief in the 7th race, and then I look back at Rhythm Park, and I think Rhythm Park may have the speed to keep Manhattan Mischief on the outside. So I'm going to do those two, and I think I'll get through the second leg with the 6 and 7. In the feature race, the 5 horses, that we used, the 1, 3, 5, 8, 11, which is Mudison, Southern Wild, Nessie, the 8-horse Producer, and the 11 Brookerita. And then the last race, it depends on how much money you got left. I could single Luther D here. I think Luther D is probably the best horse in the race, but when you get a maiden 20, the best horse in the race is sometimes an oxymoron. So Luther D is the 3 horse. I'm going to use Heartifix, the 6 for Jeff Engler and Jimmy Graham. I'm going to use the 8 Wissam for Todd Pletcher and the 9 Kitten for Granny for Michael Maker. So that's a $100 ticket. It's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 with 6, 7 with 1, 3, 5, 8, 11 with 3, 6, 8, 9. You got a couple options if you want to cut that down, singling Manhattan Mischief in the second leg, or possibly singling Luther D in the last leg to cut it down. But I'm going to go ahead and spend $100 and hope I hit it.
If you can't get out to the track, make sure to play through Keeneland Select, and we'll be back with the Friday podcast to wrap up the Keeneland Spring Meet. This is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.